Buying a home is very nerve-wracking. I know the first time we wrote an offer on our first house, we were so nervous because we didn't know what to expect and there was so much information to soak in. Hey, I'm Rose Gonzalez with the Gonzalez Real Estate Team, and my goal is to give you as much information on the home buying process so that when you're ready to make that move, you know what to expect and that you're prepared so that the home buying process can be a great experience for you and your family. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to write an offer, what's in an offer, and things you should know when writing an offer so that the process doesn't seem too overwhelming or scary when you actually get to that part of the home buying process. So let's get started. When you find the house that you love and you want to write an offer, you want to talk to your realtor to see if there's any disclosures or reports available on the home. This varies in different areas because there are certain cities where it's standard for sellers to provide disclosures and reports like home, termite, and roof inspections before they actually find a buyer. And there are other areas where the sellers don't provide disclosures until after they find a buyer, and then the buyer would need to order their own inspections. You'll want to have your realtor go over comps with you, which is homes sold in the neighborhood. This is to understand what the homes are selling for in the area. What they'll do is they'll send you a list of homes that have recently sold within about half-a-mile radius from the house that you want to buy. They may go out a little bit further if there aren't a lot of homes closer to compare it with. This is also similar to how appraisers determine the value of the home, but in more detail. So what you want to do is take a look at all the homes that are on the market and those that have sold and compare the square footage, how many bedrooms and bathrooms. Does the home compare to the house you're buying? Like, does it have updated kitchen or bathrooms, and is there a pool? Once you get the comps, you can determine the value you're willing to pay for the home, and that's where you give your realtor an offer price. Now that you've determined your offer price, let's talk about terms. The realtor and the lender can talk about a closing date. The lender can pretty much help the realtor determine your close of escrow length. Standard is usually 30 days, but I've seen them as quickly as 21 days for a pre-approved conventional buyer and as long as 45 days for an FHA buyer. When you write an offer, one thing you'll need to know is that you will need to do an earnest money deposit. This will need to be sent to escrow within 3 days after your offer is accepted via wire or cashier's check. Next, you'll want to understand what contingencies are. There are 3 contingencies that you want to be aware of, and those are appraisal, loan, and buyer's inspection contingencies, and they are all tied to your earnest money deposit. The appraisal contingency is a timeline where you and your lender can have an appraiser come out to the property as a third party to verify the actual value of the home. If the home does not appraise at your offer price, you can renegotiate with the seller to come down to the appraised value, or you can cover that appraisal gap yourself. Now, you need to understand that the lender will only lend up to the value of the home. So let's say that you wrote an offer for $800,000, but the appraisal came in at $750,000. For your loan purposes, they're only going to use the $750,000. So if you decide to pay the appraisal gap, that will be $50,000 out of your pocket. Now, if you don't want to pay the difference and the seller doesn't want to go down in price, you can back out of your contract without losing your earnest money deposit as long as you're within your appraisal contingency timeline. The loan contingency is another timeline in the contract. A loan contingency would be all the things related to your loan, like making sure you have the interest rate you're comfortable with and making sure that there's no hiccup with your loan for any reason. Once you remove your loan contingency and for some reason you're unable to close escrow, you can be at risk for losing your deposit. The third contingency is a buyer's inspection contingency. This is another timeline that's super important. This is a time where you're going to want to inspect the home thoroughly. You want to go back to the house and visually see it, and then you'll want to talk to your realtor about ordering inspections. We usually recommend home, termite, and roof inspections. You want to take a look for large issues like foundation issues or large Section 1 items on the termite report. Now, if there are things like Section 1 on the termite report, you can work with your realtor about negotiating with the seller about getting them fixed, or you can ask for a credit so that you can fix them after closing, as long as you're within your inspection contingency period. You can ask the sellers to give you a credit or fix the repairs and they can agree. You guys can meet halfway. You can just say, okay, I'll buy the house as is, or you can back out of your contract without losing your deposit as long as you're within your timelines. Now, the buyer's inspection contingency is not just about inspections. There's a whole lot of things that you need to review as a buyer. There are also title report, natural hazard disclosures. If the house is within a homeowners association, you'll want to make sure you go through the HOA documents and read through the rules and the CC&Rs. So there's a lot of documents you'll want to read through. Your realtor can help walk you through this process in more depth. One thing that's important is you want to make sure you know these timelines that your realtor is putting in your contract. The standard amount of days on a California contract is 17 days, but in competitive markets, realtor may put less days on them. And remember, the contingency is what protects your earnest money deposit. If you remove these and find something after, and you and the sellers can't come to an agreement and you have to back out of the contract, the sellers can technically keep your earnest money deposit. So just be very careful and mindful when you guys remove contingencies, especially in hot markets where a lot of buyers are removing contingencies to be more competitive. But just know you need to understand what that means and what the risks are. Now that you know about your contingencies, you'll want to know who pays for what. Again, this varies by area, but there are fees like title fees, escrow fees, county transfer tax, city transfer tax. And again, if your home is within a homeowners association, there will be an HOA certification and a transfer fee. In California, the sellers usually pay for a 1-year home warranty. This protects appliances, AC, heating, and if it's included in the contract, it can include a hot tub or a pool. So if something breaks and something happens within the 1 year you've moved in, the home warranty can come in and fix these items. But keep in mind, you'll need to prove that these items were working when you moved in, like providing them with a home inspection you did during escrow. Another thing you'll want to confirm with your realtor is possession of property. Most buyers can get their keys to the house the day of closing, but there's some occasions when it's been negotiated where the sellers may need a rent back. What this means is that maybe the sellers need a week or two to close escrow on their next home and time to move out. You can work with your realtor on how many days you're willing to give them and whether or not you want to give it to them at no cost or have them pay for your mortgage for the amount of time they're staying after closing. You will want to make sure to go through the entire contract and talk to your realtor about things you may have questions about. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions about the home buying process, I put a link below to our home buyer's guide. And of course, feel free to reach out and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please make sure to give a little love to that subscribe button and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye!